You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.fm network. Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. This is the hour about guns. When I say, guns, for me, this is not a sport. This is not a hobby. This is not some sort of things that normally we can talk about the latest purse, how to carry your gun, or the latest gun. I don't give a crap, seriously. I don't care if you have an 100 years old Mosin gun or the latest model or rifle. The idea for me of a gun or a weapon in general, it is because it's an extension of our soul to declare our independence, to defend our freedom. That's the bottom line. I hate when I hear these idiots out there, and normally I don't like to put people down, because I don't want to do that, but it's true. When they're trying to brainwash us, oh, this gun is not the sport purpose. Who gives a damn? I never have any of my rifles don't have any sport purpose. Seriously. I don't care. I don't buy $3,000 rifle to go hunt or to go, target shooting. I couldn't care less. For me, the rifle is a way to defend my freedom and the freedom of this republic. As simple as that. Okay? And of course, I enjoy it. Some people like to buy brand new cars. I buy used cars and I also buy rifles. That's where I put my money. But beside that, this is the purpose of the second hour. Try to learn from each other. Try to, as I said, I'm not trying to preach to the choirs, okay? Of course, I like when I have people already that are into guns and they want to interact with me. That's great. But for me, the real new goal is to try to bring new people in. And normally, one part of the population that I really feel that is kind of underestimated is the women, are the women. And people say, why? Yes, first of all, I know women that got more balls than many men out there. If I had to go into a gunfight, I know a few ladies out there that are ready to bring them with me than many of the guys. And don't want to bring the guys down, but it's true. It really is true. Women, they have an instinct that they're not going to go to show off. But if they go for the survival instinct to save their kids, they are animals. So stay away from them, okay? Then the second thing, I always believe that the mother, okay, or at least the instinct of a mother, the woman in general, is the person that is going to share knowledge, is going to share education. Normally, the father goes out hunting, okay, that's at least in history, goes out working. Who's going to stay all day with the kid? Of course, in these days, the public re-education school, but don't get me going there. Normally, it's the mom. So I really think it's important that we need to try to get close to this culture, the gun culture, and it's not just, of course, the safety aspect and also the marksmanship aspect, but also it is the freedom aspect of the gun culture. So the mother, I really believe, have a very important role in society. So that's why today I have with me a great lady. I really respect her a lot, and she's fun. I tell you, she's a kind of crazy lady. Sometimes we have a couple of things we may disagree, but the bottom line, one thing we agree. We are not body slaves, and we don't trust any government. Because it's true. Look at now, You think that our government is our government? It's not. So we are kind of, let's put it this way, rebels, but with a cause. I believe that. I can speak for her in this area. I know her enough. But of course, she will talk now. So, and also she's a veteran. She's an Army veteran. And today I wanted to bring her with me because I really want to have her input on things that normally maybe women may ask me or maybe would like to know. And maybe I will try to help in answering. Now, another important thing, I will talk with her next Sunday because I was planning to do it this Sunday. But unfortunately, the last hour, you will listen to the last hour in a few minutes. It's going to be very interesting. I have a guest that pretty much filled up the whole hour. So I'm going to have this great lady also next Sunday. We will talk about a different topic, but I'm not going to spoil the surprise right now. And right now we go straight to Anne. Anne, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, hopefully I didn't fall asleep with my completely, intro. I got kind of carried away. Okay, listen, Anne. Anne West, originally from where, Anne?
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara, very California. And right now, where are you located? Which part of the world?
I'm living down here in Ensenada in Baja, California.
Okay, so you are crossing the border. The border didn't cross you, but you crossed the border and you went down to Mexico, right?
Yeah, I went down to Mexico over 5 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time. So how is your Spanish? Pretty good?
It's pretty good. It could be better, but I get by.
Okay, so you can do your life, you can take care of your business. Now you also you are an army veteran, and you were on my show a few months ago, and I really, by the way, I had a great feedback about our interview because there was a different perspective from a veteran that saw both sides of the story. And I think it was a very good interview. I really enjoyed, by the way. Exactly what remind a little bit your skills when you were a veteran.
Well, I was a Chinook helicopter pilot.
So you were kind of a specialist person. You were flying helicopter. That was your main job.
Flying helicopters. I was what they call a warrant officer, and I flew helicopters. And I went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Then I was in Honduras for a while. And actually, I have a funny gun story for you in Honduras. Okay.
Yeah. So tell me about that.
When we go out to do our missions, they were primarily in Honduras, although sometimes we went to El Salvador, and we weren't supposed to be going into Nicaragua, but we might have been. I don't know.
Okay.
So before we went on our missions, we were supposed to go to the armory and check out our weapons, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, I was the only pilot out of our 9 Chinook pilots there that required my crew to actually check out more than a small Ziploc baggie with 6 bullets in it for their rifle. Okay, I was the only one that made the crewman mount his machine gun and load it up and made sure all the guys had their M16s locked and loaded, and I had my pistol loaded. My other pilot, I was the only one, a woman, was the only pilot out of 8 guys and 1 woman that required her crew to be loaded. And you know what happened? About 2 years after I left there, our commander, it was kind of a rotation that got switched between bases, okay? So our commander at the time went back down there for another rotation, and he was flying on a Huey from our little airport in, it was called Palmarola, in the middle of Honduras, to San Salvador in a Huey. They got shot down by the FMLN.
Wow.
He survived the crash and were all murdered on the ground. Why? Because they probably did not have any weapons loaded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty common sense, by the way. I mean, you are there.
What's the point of carrying a gun with no bullets in it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I know that it is part of probably the protocols or whatever, the policy coming from above. But once you're there, you are the type of, like the captain of the ship. You are there, the pilot, and say, guys, I mean, I think it's a very important thing and very common sense. And
it was my responsibility. And the armory person was used to it. They had these teeny little Ziploc baggies with 6 bullets in it. And I don't know what they were given I think they were given the M16 guys maybe a magazine or 2, right? I made them all check out boxes of their ammo and stuff. And she always rolled her eyes at me, the armory sergeant. I'm just like there's triple canopy jungle out there in southern Honduras we were flying over sometimes. We saw monkeys and macaws and crap in there.
Yeah.
So there was jaguars and guys with poison darts and stuff. And
exactly.
So I told them, if we go down there, nobody's ever going to find us, dude. We'll get hidden in this jungle and we'll be lost. You're going to want to have some bullets.
And this is sad because you did that as with your brain as your act of your responsibility. But there should be something that unfortunately has been a trend. And it didn't happen just today, to completely almost, castrate our soldiers. And I'm not talking just physically, but also mentally, because, look at now what's happening. The fact that the last, I think, since Clinton administration, our soldiers in the bases, they are not allowed to have weapons. And you know very well what happened the last few years between Texas massacre and the others, what it was, another base, and the recruiting places. I mean, our soldiers, they are not trusted with weapons, loaded weapons, beside the military police, and that's insane. I mean, 50 years ago, that never would have happened. It
is. And weird thing that those guys down there in Honduras with me, one of the guys was an ex-police officer, and this was back in the mid to late 80s. He was an ex-police officer. He loved to brag about how he's always beating guys up and stuff. He didn't even care, require his crew to be properly armed. And another guy was a total gun nut. Same thing. Not any of them could think enough about the fact that how they might want to have a weapon. I mean, we would get reports that there was FMLN near the base wanting to shoot down a C5 and stuff like that. So, there was some threat, some real threat around there.
Yeah. And they would have loved, first of all, to shut you down, to get access to your hardware. I mean, an helicopter, and that's in priceless value. I mean, think about it. Also, the moral boost. Wow, you knocked down a U.S. Army helicopter, and then of course the drama that they're gonna kidnap you and ask for a ransom, and of course at that time probably they would have let you rot and die. Now of course Obama can put out $400 million under the table to release whatever he wants, but the policy, correct me if I'm wrong, I was even in the country at the time, normally they do not negotiate with terrorists. So probably you would have been completely let rot in some jungle, having lunch with monkeys. Okay. Anyway.
Plus in Latin America, you can pay a ransom, and they're likely to still kill your family member anyway.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of honor about that end of the deal for some reason.
Yeah, and on top, I don't want to say, but that's another thing. I really believe that's why women. Yes, I think there are women out there that have more balls and also more probably stamina than many men out there. But at the same time, when you're a woman, you put yourself in a battlefield situation. I mean, they rape men. Don't get me wrong, okay? They do terrible things to prisoners if you are a man. I don't even want to imagine what they could do to a woman. That's why I always, if I were a woman and I was somehow selected to go out in a battlefield, I would have at least, I don't know, the 007 poison pill with me, because I would never become a prisoner.
Dude, that's funny you say that, because when I was in Fort Campbell, I was hanging out in the ops office one day with this guy named Lieutenant Miley, and he was this old country boy dude. He always had a wad of chew in his lip, and we were talking about women in combat, because at that point women were not allowed to fly combat aircraft yet. It happened shortly after I got out, and we were talking about women in combat, and he was talking about you guys chewing his lip, and he's like, yeah, but if they catch you, and you're a prisoner, they're gonna rape you. And I just looked him in the eyes and I said, buddy, women are used to being raped. I said, I'd like to see you on all fours with a broomstick up your what, and see how you feel about that. And his mouth fell open, and he never said another word to me about women in combat or anything, because I'm like, we get raped all the time. We're used to it. We got stuff in our orifices for fun. So, but you're the guys who are going to have a problem.
Oh my God. This is Seriously. True. They rape everybody. But that's,
like you said, they don't know what they're going to do to us. Oh, I'd be more worried about what they're going to do to you, because they're going to brutalize a male much more than they're going to brutalize a female.
Maybe a woman say, you know what, maybe I can try to BS you a little bit and make you believe that I enjoy it.
Yeah, we
okay.
make the best of it.
All right, interesting topic. Anyway, yes, guys. By the way, you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom, so don't get to somehow, oh my God, yes, we talk about guns and freedom, and of course, a little bit about love. This is part of the show. Now, talking back about guns.
I want to ask you something.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you something about guns and women. I was thinking about this before we had our call. Why it is, in America especially, that guns kind of have this, little questionable position in life. And I think it's really because most of us don't get access to play with guns. I mean, the majority of the population grow up in cities, except for maybe some of the kids in really inner cities where there's a lot of poverty and a lot of violence. Most of us aren't exposed to them. It's not something you learn in school. It's not something you can pick up at the store. It's something that authority figures have in the military, and unless you're growing up on a farm, like I said, if you're in the city, you're not going to get exposed to guns. So I don't know how to
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know how to, convince friends of mine, especially female friends that often tend to be, I'm going to say liberal-minded because everybody's defining it that way, that, guns are bad and blah, 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 that it's just a tool like anything else. I don't have a gun right now. I never really feel the need to have a gun. I don't know if I would ever even actually use it, even if I had it, because I would have to judge, like down here in Mexico, a time that I would need a gun would be like this. If I decided to drive by myself down Baja, that would be a bad idea. Now, if I had to do it by myself, I'd want to have a gun, but would I really be willing to shoot the person that need to be shot? Because often it's going to be the police. They're going to stop you they're going to stop you on some dark section of highway, or the other thing that happens is there are these kind of like highway bandits that will do something like put out a blockade on the highway. And they especially do it when they see like expensive RVs and stuff.
Yeah.
At the time in which I would need it, in other words, I'm roll down the window and here the cop has come into my door and the other guy's on the other door, and my Spanish is not good enough to hear them talking about what they're going to do to me. By the time I'd be ready to shoot him, it'd be too late.
Well, one
You know
thing,
what I'm saying?
my humble point of view in this one. First of all, it's your choice. Probably I'm sure you took your time and you spent 5 years already there. So, the pros and the don't to live in that country. And when you go in a country, at least, when I pick for myself, I try to obey to the law of the country. And the reality is in Mexico, there is no Second Amendment. The reality is that only the government, and only the mafia, like in Italy, pretty much, have guns. The rest of the population, for history, for hundreds of years, they always been deprived of their right because they wanted to pretty much manipulate them and enslave them. I mean, after all, the average Mexican, it is pretty much like just a worker in the fields. That's why only 5% of the very small elite of Mexicans they control all this huge quantity of land and resources, because the reality is that the average Mexican, unfortunately, he has no right to revolt and to defend their freedom. That's why they don't want to give you guns. But now, beside that aspect, one point you made very good, I think it was a very good question. Even if I had a gun, maybe or probably I wouldn't use it. That's the most important question I think every one of us, before even we think to buy a gun, we should somehow ask to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because, you can have all the guns you want, but the most important weapon, it's you. It's your
But
mind.
there's certain situations that is obvious. You're in your house alone and you hear your door being broken down and, you're not expecting anybody and your dog's going crazy. That one is pretty easy. But the harder ones are, like I'm saying, when the enemy is maybe the cops, that happens a lot down here.
It's
and the
true.
other thing I wanted to let you know is for people that I know say everybody's got guns down here, not just the Americans, all the Mexicans have guns. A friend of mine said when she lived over in Sonora, all the men, all ages carry these bags, kind of like the bags that I make, a leather bag over the shoulder, and on their side. They weren't purses. They all had their guns in there.
No, listen, but that's true. But listen, we heard lately there have been old cities revolting against the mafia cartel, the drug cartels, and taking back their homes, their towns, because the government, unfortunately, we know very well, the federales and the police, they're pretty much on the payroll of these drug cartels. So there is they have guns if they have to, but still, unfortunately, it is not something that like we're supposed to have here in America. That is your right. It is something that almost like our founding fathers had to do. They had to completely fight and die to have their right. And still, on paper, there is not their right, but they have it because they can have guns. That if they want to. But my point is, is just something important. They have different scenarios. Something that probably would be almost black and white for almost everybody. You're on the back, your home, it's night, you mind your business, and somebody starts to break down the window of the door. I mean, for me, it's like a no-brainer. Okay, I mean,
they're getting shot through the door. I mean.
That's the point. But for many people, believe it or not, there are people out there, even they know that's what's happening, their mind and maybe their morals, they are not allowing to make the decision. So that's something, and I'm not judging others. Everybody must make the decision according to what they believe and whatever they are. So, but that's a very important point. Before even we buy a gun or we own a gun, we should go through a process of moral and ethical decisions according to our values and our religions, whatever you are. And at that point, after you clear that up, and you say, okay, this is my line in the sand. This is what I'll do. And then you start to realize, they're like almost like a video game, different levels. Start from the basic one, you're in your home. What if somebody's trying to carjack your car? What if there is, for example, a situation at this time, somebody's trying to rape you? It doesn't look like just a regular scumbag, but is wearing a uniform. I mean, you need to clear that up before, because the moment that you think, in the moment of shock and awe that you have, it's going to be probably too late. You're already dead or probably been knocked down. So that's something that I think we should visualize. And of course, there is always a risk, there is always consequence, but they always say it's better being judged by what? 12, they've been carried by 6, something like that. Is that right?
I mean, and I'll be a little bit of the devil's advocate. What was I going to say? I know. Especially for women. Now, there are some women out there that are very, very proficient with their firearms, and they are really into firearms. They have more than one pistol. They have more than one holster. They go and shoot all the time. But for the average person that goes out and buys a handgun for self-protection, they're going to maybe shoot it at the range. When they buy it, maybe they might go shoot once a month or maybe never again. And they carry this gun. Now, the problem is in close contact stuff, like you're talking about a carjacking or a rape or whatever, a woman with not a lot of experience in hand-to-hand combat or martial arts or anything is likely to get that gun taken away from her and used on her. That's another consideration too, And then I'll add this too, Luca. I'm 57 years old. I have never in my entire life ever been any sort of instance or event in which I might have needed a gun. I've never been raped. I've never been close to being raped. I've never been mugged. And I've been on all kinds of places. And it's like, for me, I just kind of feel like I have a little bubble of protection around me already. I'm not sure. Paranoid.
First of all, it's like the spare tire, okay? I don't remember last time I had a flat. But I always carry with me my spare tire because it's out there. We know it happens. Now, the best weapon we can have, and I have this. One of the things I learned, one of my first classes when I went to front sight, it is to be able to recognize problems before it happens. Because if we are in a problem, in a situation, technically we already made a mistake. We didn't see it coming. And of course, we still want to try to get out of there. But I think it was Sun Tzu when I was studying at the university, at the military academy, this little book, very interesting book. And they said the best general is the one that is going to win the war without fighting the battle. That's the bottom line. And we don't want to go out. I mean, the average guy, the average woman, the law-abiding person, nobody in a good mind, unless you're a psychopath, let me get my gun because tonight I can't wait to go out and I'm going to blast a couple bad people. No, that's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to go in a confrontation if we can avoid it. And the point is, how do we avoid it? We must be in different type of alert level. I mean, if you look at the average person out there, okay, especially now with the kids with the cell phones, or even just grown-up people, not just the kids. They are completely in condition zombie, I call it. Technically, it's called condition white, okay? Not even aware of their surroundings, not even pay attention to anything. So the point is, that's the perfect prey for the evil bastard out there who wants to mug you, rape you, or kill you. That's the bottom line. Because, after all, the criminal mindset is always the mindset of a predator. And they want to find the easy prey. But if you're out there, no matter if you're a woman or man or whatever, bisexual or transsexual, whatever, you are a being that you are alert. And you look around, you scan your environment, you don't look down. When you go into the parking lot, you don't start to look at your cell phone. You want to look who is behind the car. You want to look behind your 6 or your 12, whatever it is. And you want to start to say, okay, somebody comes towards to me. I don't like your face. Hey, stay away from me. I don't want to talk to you. Don't let them come close. There are different things we can start to create, not being paranoid, but being alert. And, I talked in the past about the different level of color of awareness, but to keep it simple, there is a condition white that you are completely clueless. And then, of course, you have a condition called yellow. That means you are not paranoid, but you are paying attention. And you are, when the criminal sees you, that you are aware of him, over, guess what? You're already losing the advantage of the surprise. So at that point, because even if you carry a gun, as you said, and the guy is going to jump on you from the back, I don't care how good and fast you are, you're already down, okay? So that's a very important thing. Another important thing you said, women, you may have a gun, and with not enough training, you may just give a gun to the enemy. That's true. But that doesn't apply just to women, to everybody.
Oh, anybody.
Because a lot of people out there, just because they think they bought a gun, they got the 50 rounds of, ammo under the gun, and they went to the range and they shot 6 rounds. Okay, I can eat the paper. I'm fine. That's the most dangerous thing you can do to yourself, to create a false sense of security. I mean,
I think so too. I've watched some of your videos of you training, and I'm like, yeah, if I had a gun these days, I wouldn't want to. Now I have to tell you, I pride myself on managing risk, and I think the reason I've gone through 57 years is because I did have one incident when I was probably about 14 or 13 that I think set this in my mind. I lived at the bottom of a really steep hill, and so when I was coming home from junior high, it must have been like 7th grade. I was walking with another girl who was older than me. We were kind of hanging out at the bottom of the hill, hoping some parent would come by and give us a ride,
Yeah.
And these two, it was probably like, 1972 or 3, right? These two hippies pull up in a Volkswagen van, and they're like, "Hey, you want a ride?" And we're like, "Sure." We didn't know them or anything. We hop in the van and close the door, and as they start chugging up the hill, one of them turns around and says, sort of menacingly, "We're going to take you for a little ride."
Oh my gosh.
And she and I looked at each other, and we're just like scared to death. And, we're chugging up this hill trying to decide, should we jump out of this van? And we get up, it's maybe a mile. We get up the top, and one of the guys, perkily said, "Oh, where you girls want to get out?" We're like, "Right here," and we got out, and we're like, that was it for me, man. I realized that, for instance, when I drive around down here, I live in a community with one road in and one road out. So you learn who your neighbors are, even if you don't know who they are. And sometimes there are people on the side of the road, and sometimes you give them a ride. I do not give anybody a ride unless I actually know them and I've spoken to them before and I know who they are. And even then, I might not give them a ride. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But there's this one guy, he keeps kind of waving at me like I know him. I'm like, no, I don't really know you. I've seen you on the side of the road a bunch of times. I'm not getting you in my car. Forget it.
Unfortunately, even when you know somebody, I mean, there are serial killer out there that they look normal. I mean, I think it was one in California. Well, it was in the 80s. A good-looking guy. He looks like an average American. You never know. You never know. Bundy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there are people out there that you never know. And I say the gun doesn't mean that for sure you're going to make it, but at least you have a tool that is going to be a great equalizer, they call it, okay? I know.
I wish, Luca, and I just wish, first of all, I wish we didn't have all these laws and people in control of us, but besides that, I wish everybody could just carry anything they wanted to carry in whatever way they wanted to carry it. If that were true, I would be packing a small sidearm on me all the time.
Well, let me tell you, that's true. Depends where you live. I left Italy because I couldn't do that.
Just to say that all the laws went away, there was no laws about anything, guns or anything, I would be packing a sidearm then.
But there are some states, and this is not just Arizona. Right now, more and more, many other states in America, like, for example, of course, Vermont was one of the first states, you have the constitutional carry. And I speak right now, for example, for Arizona, since I live here. That's one of the, the state is not perfect, as I said many times, but one thing, they got it down right. It is the number one state for gun rights in the union. And you, as an American, they don't care if you are Arizonan or whatever. If just because you're an American or legal resident, okay, with a green card, you have their right as a human being to buy any gun or any rifle you want. Of course, beside the exception of that they go under the federal law for full automatic or class 3, okay? But every other gun, handgun, whatever, shotgun, semi-automatic rifle, you can go to a gun shop like you're going to buying a pair of shoes pretty much. Or you can have private sale, even better, but you must be, of course, a legal resident, okay, for that. And even to buy technically a gun in this state, you must be a legal resident. But you can carry, okay? Let's say you don't want to buy the gun here because you are not an Arizona resident. But you, as an American, you don't need any permit. You can carry any gun, conceal or open carry, doesn't matter. We have what is called the constitutional carry.
I think that's awesome.
That's beautiful. That's the way I wake up in the morning. I feel like I appreciate this every morning, every day. I've been living in this state for 11 years now. And I came, of course, from Italy, but before that from California. And I tell you, there is no one morning that in my pants, there is my holster and my gun and my pouch for my magazine. And not because I'm paranoid, oh my God, I can't wait to have my gun, or I'm a fetish about guns. No, because for me, it is a sense of freedom, a reminder that I have this right and many other parts of the world you don't have. That's why.
I agree with you. And I think part of the problem is that so many people have been brainwashed into thinking that guns kill people, but what they don't realize is that laws actually don't protect people.
Exactly.
You know, if they say, okay, only the police can have guns and nobody else can have guns, well, of course the criminals are going to have guns and they're still going to use the guns, and now you won't have a gun to protect yourself. I mean, I post this on Facebook every once in a while. Name one law that actually protects you.
Exactly. And on
Because
top,
if you did, there wouldn't be courts and jails.
No, it is insane. There are already so many laws. The law is made to go after the person after already kill you. Okay?
Yeah, they don't protect you. That's why I think everybody should be able to do whatever they want to do, you know?
But for me, I tell you, I'm not even that worried about the criminal aspect. I mean, of course, I'm talking as a guy and probably, but this is not fair. But the real reason why I carry a gun, for an average scumbag criminal, probably a 2x4 would do the job, okay?
Right.
The problem is, what the real criminals are here is a potential tyrannical government. That's really what freaks me out. That's why I believe that we should all be armed. I mean, of course.
I totally agree with you on that. We're not supposed to probably even talk about that. But, I mean, the reality is I'm seeing more and more people on Facebook talking about that and things like that. And, yes, that was one of our main things about our founding fathers was our right to protect ourselves against our own government, right?
Exactly. Oh, the foreign invasion. We are at this point right now. I mean, and I really believe, of course, for me, the first real invasion is not going to be from overseas. We already have been invaded. I mean, we already have Homeland Security with, I don't know, many billions of rounds, and the militarization of police, and so many armored vehicles that not even in Iraq they were given to our troops. And the point is, right now, I mean, this is not me talking. There are people that they serve in the military. They are aware. There are more and more people that they're coming out, and it's on the open now. It's also mainstream media. And you see what happened with the destruction of our Bill of Rights, with completely, let's say, we have no more posse comitados, and it didn't just start this with Obama, but for sure after the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, technically the government, the president, at his own discretion, at the executive, can label any one of us a domestic terrorist, and they can come and pick us up like Chile. In Chile, under Pinochet, that we know, by the way, was propped up by the CIA, they were called the White Death. People, more than 50,000 people disappearing, political dissidents, never been found alive anymore. So right now, Obama or any next president technically has the type of unconstitutional legislation that bring us back before pre-Magna Carta, where there is no due process. We all can be just because suspected of a crime that we didn't do. And this is beautiful. You know why I'm being sarcastic here? It is not just the right wing saying that. I mean, there was also the lady that normally I don't agree with her, but she got it down right on this one finally, on MSNBC. She has I forgot her name. She's kind of short hair. Anyway, she did
Rachel Maddow?
Yes, she did. She did a good show about Obama. Congratulations, Mr. Obama. You brought us under complete fascism here. And that's exactly what we are right now. So that's why I think right now, more than ever, every American, regardless your political ideas, left, right, or center, or whatever, you have the right and also the duty, in my opinion, to be armed. Because when the real fascism is going to, right now, not go anymore soft, it's going to go hardcore, you're all going to realize that these people, no matter which party they are on power, they're not your friends. I mean, Obama, people thought, okay, we got Obama, he's a Democrat, he's a good guy. This guy, he dropped more bombs, he created more wars, and he did more unconstitutional acts that Bush, he couldn't get away with that. And he was doing, of course, a pretty damn good job, Bush, doing all that stuff. So we are right now, finally, I hope, not for everybody, but for many, they start to wake up. I mean, how do you feel, for example, I don't want to change from guns, but if how do you feel if you see now the Bush family supporting, endorsing Hillary? Doesn't give you a little bit of a wake-up call?
Well, I've been awake for a long time about all that. I chose not to vote in any federal elections for quite a number of years now when I realized that the two-party system was simply a system that appeared to be a choice, and it's not. There's no difference between them, and if you continue to think there is, you just need to continue to look into it, because there just isn't. I mean, there hasn't been a president in I don't know how long that actually did anything that he promised to do during the campaigns, and luckily for me with Obama, because of course everybody wants to have a black president or a woman president, whatever, there was something about him when he was first running. I looked into his eyes and I just saw something I didn't like. You can see it in his eyes still now. There's this kind of this an arrogance that lacks compassion in his eye, and as a kind of an empathic person, I'm just like, there's something wrong with that guy.
But that guy, for me, before even there, all I had to look is his record, what he did, not even what he said, what he did when he was a senator, what he did in his life, and then I had to read his book. Or even he didn't write the books, of course, it was Bill Ayer, whatever, but still. He carries his signature.
How about Clinton's record as a senator? I think she named a school, and then she named a bridge, and she named a.
No. She was. Think about it. They are the most corrupted.
She put in 3 bills to name some.
Oh gosh.
And then when she became Secretary of State, that's when she really started cashing in big.
Yeah.
I'm totally waiting for the wiki dump that's going to just really blast the Clinton Foundation. But let me tell you one thing. I worked in high tech, and a lot of people don't understand things like email servers and stuff like that. So let's talk about Hillary for a minute, because she's my favorite enemy right now. I'm an anarchist. I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat or anything. I'm out of the political system, except it still pisses me off that these freaks are screwing up my country that I used to love so much. All right. Now, there is no reason, and a matter of fact, one of the people on that Senate committee said this, there is no reason at all for a person to have their own email server separate from their corporate or government job, whatever it is. Corporate and government kind of the same, right? You get these big email servers and guys administering them and stuff like that. There's no reason to have your own private one unless you're trying to keep something secret from your boss. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason. And the other thing is, since she had her own email server in her house, she could have had I don't know how many different email addresses, it depends on the software, thousands of email addresses. So she could have had entire other email boxes that she was using solely for her backdoor communications regarding the Clinton Foundation money laundering and stuff like that, or only, one that she only used to talk to Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. And then that way she could have easily told her admin, flush those boxes, just completely get rid of all of them, destroy everything. And then what's left is her, her nice little H07 or whatever she uses at clintonmail.com, right? So they could have dumped all that stuff and nobody even knows that exists until somebody finds those emails somewhere else. Either they've hacked them before or they hack them from the NSA, because I guarantee you the NSA's got them. And I'm just waiting for somebody to find those emails.
They have everything. I mean, listen, the fact that they only use it when they want, it's like pretty much who controls the enforcers. And of course, at this point, that's why they love the idea that they legally now, of course, even it's unconstitutional, but it's still legal in their book. They can spy on everybody anytime they want. Because the point is, not only it's a violation of Fourth Amendment, but also it's a great opportunity for blackmailing everybody.
We're screwed.
Think about it. I mean, I don't care, seriously. Still, I don't care. I never will allow morally anybody to spy on me without any type of reason that makes sense. So I'm not the type of people. I hate when I hear these good old boys, oh, you must have something to hide. If you have nothing to hide, you should be okay. It's our government. Screw you. Seriously, screw you, because I say something. First of all, it is my business, number one. Number two, some people before us fought and died to allow us to have that type of protection from anybody, especially a government, that has no business to spy on us without any type of probable cause. So I'm not going to surrender my Fourth Amendment just because you are brainwashed to believe that is to save us from the terrorists, because that's pretty much now the average idiot out there what is saying. And of course, the same people that were bashing Bush, and I'm glad because I was bashing him too, even I was a Republican at the time. I was probably the only Republican doing that. But now, because it's Obama, there's silence. After all, we don't need to talk about that. That's what really make me feel very disgusted. Where are all you guys? I had the last Sunday an interesting guy on the first hour. I don't know if you heard. His name is Michael Weiser, and I respect him. I think he had a good position when it comes down at least the legalization of marijuana. We agree on that. Even I don't smoke. But when it comes down now to denounce Hillary, And by the way, the guy is supported, he was a delegate for Bernie Sanders. I said to him, how can you go out? Even I don't agree with Bernie Sanders, but at least, is his own way. He has his own identity. And now how can you go out and forget about all the bad things you were saying about Hillary and playing game and pretty much not mentioning anything about the wars and the deaths and all the stuff she's doing? She almost got mad on the air. I mean, that's insane. I say, by the way, don't tell me what I can say on the air. It's my show. But still, we talk about everything here. And you as a Democrat, I had more respect for you. Like, for example, I have Ronald O'Donnell, my guy that came a few times. The guy is running for California State Senate, and he won the primaries, by the way, against his own party. And he's the first basher of Hillary. And he doesn't care. And his Central Committee, they hate him, and he's not even going to vote for Hillary. So at least, I respect that. People that understand when there is corruption, you cannot be part of it. But that's my point. Right now, let me go back 1 second to the guns part. Well, let me tell you about guns, one thing, one question, because I have in front of me today, I don't know if you can hear it, my favorite gun, at least as a pistol. It's a Glock, and people say, oh, I don't like Glocks. I don't care. You like what you want. At the end of the day, you are the weapon. The gun is just an extension. But why I like Glocks? Because, first of all, they're easy to manipulate. They're easy to shoot. They are reliable. They are reasonable priced. They're accurate. And you have a lot of extra aftermarket parts that you can really personalize it, customize it. And I think, that for me, I have many guns. But in the last few years, I learned one gun I want to train. One gun I want to carry every day. Because I want to be, I don't want to have the type of, let me switch mind. Now, do I have a Beretta or do I have a 1911 or do I have a Glock? No, I always carry the same gun and my muscle memory is always the same. So that's what I wanted to say. No matter what guns you like, stick with one gun when it comes down to your training. And then, of course, the first, if you can afford, get the best gun you think is best for your budget and also for your hands and for your persona. Everybody has a different personality. Some people may like a lot 1911. That's fine. But I like, my opinion, if I had to suggest to a friend their first gun, or at least the gun. I have many, I can afford every gun I want. And at the end of the day, I come down to my Glock 17.
Hey, okay, so a while ago I was really interested in the handguns, and I was starting to do a little bit of research and watching different reviews and how different ones worked, and some suggestions and some gunshots of subcompacts that women want to carry. Are the Glocks the ones that have no external hammer?
But they don't have external hammer, and like the 1911 would have, and also they don't have any external safety.
Right. Okay. Because I was asking questions on one YouTube video because I watched the video was about the safety system of the Glock, and I'm like, I didn't understand exactly how that was a safety. I mean, because
it is at least the best safety we have.
Because the trigger could still accidentally get pulled on something. You know how sometimes it gets caught in clothes, and it has like this double trigger. Well, if it's going to get caught on something, it could catch both of those triggers. The only thing I could feel that it was safe against was against dropping and having the hammer.
Okay. If the Glock drops, load it. I don't want to say never because we are still human beings and it's still made of mechanics. Everything can fail. Okay, but technically. 99.9%.
Even you can drop it.
I can drop it with the loaded chamber. It's not going to fire. It's super safe. It's really a great gun. Now, what is the most important safety we have? I can put all this external safety I want. But if I am not a responsible and trained person, not going to help. The best safety we have, it's our finger. That's the number one safety. And the idea is you want to train that you will never put that finger on the trigger unless you are on target or ready to go to shoot. That's the bottom line. And, as I said, there was an article just a few weeks ago, and I think it was from the state of California. I need to find it. I was almost laughing, and I put it out on Facebook. I got so much stuff out there. But the bottom line was so amazing. The state of California was asking to Glock to make this gun is too unsafe, so it needs to be modified. That's the idea. The gun, but think about the positive thing. First of all, you have a gun that, under stress, think about under stress, you have a safety, unless you really have completely thousands of repetitions that you go into automatically the moment that you present the gun into a fight. I don't care if it's from your purse or from your holster. You must have automatically that split second removed the safety. Okay, many people under stress don't do that, and even people that have been trained pretty well. So what I like about Glock, because it's not just about the shooting fast. It's gonna be the adrenaline. It's gonna be you freaking out. And many people happens that they don't just do it, and you're gonna face yourself without a gun that works. The Glock is like a very instinctive point shooting. That means you don't need to put any safety. Your trigger is ready to go. And it's almost like an hybrid between a revolver and a semi-automatic. Of course, it's much better than a revolver because after when you shoot the first round, you have very good, let's say, reset trigger that he can shoot very accurate. You can shoot very accurate with the gun and very fast. Now, let's see. Somebody's trying to bug me. 1 second. Let me block him 1 second because we have here people that I can't believe it. 1 second only. It is 118. Wow, that's interesting. Never seen this number before. Okay, anyway, so that's what I want to say. So in my humble opinion, I really like Glocks. Now, caliber, by the way, one thing I want to say about Glock, just a few weeks ago, the U.S. Marine special, there is a part of the U.S. Marine that they do special force, at least a special group. They came finally with a new gun for their special operation group, and it's the Glock 19. Did you read the article?
Yeah, I didn't read the whole article. Some people were not too happy with that.
That's an interesting point. Of course, there is people that say that 1911 45 caliber, it's better. At least, as I said, at the end of the day, is the guy behind the gun who makes the difference. Okay, you're training. But I tell you something. And I'm not a military guy, and probably I just give you my humble opinion as a person who carries the gun for self-defense. First of all, if you're down to your gun, you're already in a bad shape. The gun is just a tool to reach your rifle. That's the bottom line. The gun is not going to be, you're not going to win any war or really any battlefield, with your gun. Of course, better than a rock. But the idea of the gun is to be something you carry always with you, and you have a chance to at least I always say I'm never more than 5 rounds away of my handgun from my rifle. So my gun is just a way to fight back my way to the rifle. But regardless, if you think now, let's say, the way that you can be, first of all, average 1911, you have, of course, a very good, it's a good gun, don't get me wrong. But first of all, heavier, bigger, bulk, and then you have the 45 caliber that people say it's a very good for man stopping, whatever, and it's true. You got 230 grains instead than maybe 124 or 115 grains for the average 9 millimeters. Now the point is, first of all, you're gonna carry less rounds. People say, I'm gonna get you down with 1 round rather than 2. I don't think so. There's still a gun is not as let's say devastating tool like a rifle. It is not the type of, let's say, power to knock you down just because you have a 45. You're still going to be up. Now, 15 rounds you have in a Glock 19 rather than maybe 8 rounds that you can have in a 1911 basic gun. Now, another important thing, the accuracy. And then also the fact that I think the average person can manage much better. You can have much more, let's say, the follow-up shots with the 9 millimeters rather than with the 45. I'm talking about the average person. If you train very well, you can do a lot of things with the 45 too. And then another important thing, it is true, unfortunately the military, or maybe fortunately, that's according to Geneva Convention, they cannot use hollow point. That's one thing. I give you an example. As a civilian, I have ammunition that I would suggest to everybody for the 9 millimeter. You can have a lot of choices, of course, hollow point or self-defense ammunition, but there is one round, one brand, I love it. It's called Liberty Ammunition, and it's not even my sponsor. I just say because I really hope people can at least learn about it. They are 9 millimeters high pressure rounds. They go only 50 grains, okay? They're kind of light, but they go 2,000 feet per second. We're talking about rifle ballistic here, okay?
Yeah.
And they expand, you have no idea, almost like a 45, and they go through bulletproof vest. Okay?
Nice. That's what we need.
So you have because criminals have bulletproof vests. I mean,
the criminals do have bulletproof vests these days, and badges and cars.
Anything. I mean, there are people out there. Remember the Hollywood, the North Hollywood shooting? I mean, they had bulletproof vests. I mean, you never know. The point is also they may be behind the wall or whatever. So, and they are great ammunition, in my opinion, that every law-abiding person should have for self-defense. And at that point, you have the benefit of a 9mm. You shooting and training with the regular rounds. You can get, as I said many times, the average full metal jacket steel case, like the Russian stuff, for $8.50 a box for 50 rounds. That's less than half than what normally you would buy the average training stuff for a 45. So you can train with good ammo for really good price, and that's important. You have less recoil, you have faster follow-up shots, you have much more accuracy. I mean, I can put, let's say, in a much faster way, headshots with a 9mm than I would do with a 45. So I say there is always, nothing is perfect. But my opinion, as a regular guy, that of course I have also access to not just full metal jacket, but let's say more defensive ammunition. I love 9mm. I know that these 9mm, like a Glock, I can share it with anybody in the family, a child or a woman or an older person. Everybody can manage it. 45, maybe not, that's a little different. So, as you know, if I were you, if I had to look at the first gun, my opinion, I would look for a 9mm. And also, don't forget, you have you can find ammo anywhere. Even if you go to, I don't know where you're going, you can find 9mm ammo. Even in Mexico, probably, I'm sure. Okay, I mean, it's the most common round in the world. Okay, so that's the idea. Any question you have for me? Something I can, share my little humble knowledge that I'm trying to learn every day.
Well, how are your sales going of your rifle?
Okay, that's a great new question because, first of all, don't tread on us, the Freedom Rifle. It is a concept rifle. I am the one put together a concept because technically when people buy Don't Tread on Us, they buy two parts. They buy the upper, Don't Tread on Us upper, that is created by me. And then there is, of course, the lower that I'm not selling you directly, but you buy through one of my dealers, okay, that they are FFL license. It is doing great, and I tell you why. For many reasons. First of all, I really believe it is an incredible package. For just $499, that means less than the price of a Glock. The average Glock now costs about $550 at least, okay? You have a product with a lifetime warranty. That's an important thing. Made in the US. That you can see my videos. I shoot them personally. It is accurate. You can shoot this M4 carabine 4 minutes of angle at 25 yards. Put every round in 1 square inch without benches, just from prone, and you can do everything you can do with the most expensive rifle. And I tell you even a little more. Did you ever watch the video I put out when we ran over with the Humvee, loaded Humvee, more than 10,000 pounds Humvee, the lower of the Don't Trade on Us rifle? Did you see that? Watch the video.
No, I didn't see that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. I mean, it's an incredible product, incredible price. My only problem right now, and I'm sad because I don't want to do that, but I already see what they're doing, and it's normal. It's called demand and offer and availability. It's market. We're going to have a moment of panic in the next few weeks, and I hope it's going to be just a moment because unfortunately, if Hillary makes it, it's done. It's done. She said, they said, they already have records, a history record, her wars is on the open. She wants to have a same story, a complete ban on guns like the Australian model, and she's on audio on that, on video. She wants to completely gut down the Second Amendment. She already have executive orders ready to go, and it's part of the elite to disarm the population so they completely can take over the rest of whatever we own or we're supposed to have, starting from our rights. So it's going to be terrible because also I cannot guarantee for $499, for $500, you will get a complete rifle with a magazine, with a rear sight, a flat top, and also you have the rest of the package I give. It's a T-shirt, then you have the copy of the Constitution in parchment, then you got the CD Don't Trade on Us. I tell you, this package, I was at the gun show a couple of weeks ago, everybody was crying. I mean, the economy sucks, especially around here, but everywhere. But I was the only one with my sample models. Man, if I had 50 of those, I would have sold them all. Seriously. I mean, so it's an amazing package. I have a few limited left for this batch. I'm trying to reorder another batch as much as I can for the next month. But, I'm just a regular guy. I'm not a bushmaster, things like that. So, guys, if you're interested, take a look. Go to freedomrifle.com and I'll set you up, how to get it, the complete package. Please, if you're from California, do me a favor. Stop calling or writing me, because two things may happen. Or you are a complete plant, and I really not that stupid. I'm not gonna do stupid things, okay? Or you're an idiot, okay? I'm not able to sell anything to California or state like New York or Maryland, okay? All you can get is the T-shirt. That's it. So I'm sorry. I wish I didn't write those laws, and that's talk to your legislators for that, okay? Listen, we got 1 hour. I can't believe we did it so fast. I want to let you go to close. Whatever you want to say about anything you want.
I was just going to say what you said about Hillary. I was reading about executive orders today and how they're not really even any kind of a legal thing, that we don't have to obey an executive order from a president. I wish I remember where I saw that. Somebody posted it. I think Kelly Lee did. Maybe you're friends with her. It talks about what an executive order is. It doesn't mean we don't have to obey it.
Okay.
So if it comes up with an executive order, she can blow it out my booty.
I know.
You know what?
It is true. It is true. It is true. It is true. But there is a point. Unfortunately, it is not more about the law. It's about color of law, and it's about that they're gonna force us in a confrontation. Because I agree with you. I'm not going to comply with anything coming to an unconstitutional tyrannical act. But unfortunately, where they're trying to push us is going to pretty much remove a part of the population that they're going to comply like a bunch of sheep or cows. And say, after all, what you're going to do? Are you going to die? And other people say, yes, I'm ready to die because I'm not your slave. And I don't want to die. At the same time, I'm not going to live like a slave. So unfortunately, executive order, we had them so far all these years, not just with Obama, but of course, Obama really made a great example of what it means to be an imperialistic president.
Right.
And the point is, what people did? Nothing. Congress did nothing. And that showed the example that we are under tyranny. And now it's only a question when they come to knock at your door. Because you can say, yes, I have the Second Amendment right, and I don't want to give you my guns. Even Hillary says so. That's fine. I believe you are in complete right. At the same time, as Mao Zedong said, political power comes out of the barrel of a gun. So who has the bigger guns will come and will make what is right. So that's the reality. And I hope to be wrong, because I don't want to go there. Listen, my friend Ann, I talk to you next Sunday. We will talk about different topics, but I really appreciate your input, okay?
All right, that was fun.
Thank you. Okay, guys, don't go away. You're listening to Radio K-Talks and, of course, UnitedStates.fm, and ready for our number 3. Don't go away. In this world where everything seems to be going sideways, when you need things set straight, Zanna Coffee Straight Shot Espresso. Start your day with a bang. The best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade, certified, sustainable, organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com www.zannacoffee.com